which is if you are of the belief on two fronts, one, that religion defines your life, which means that reason is out the window, or you do not believe in the separation of church and state, which unfortunately a lot of people really have a big problem with, you get into a situation now where we have a new Speaker of the House. Granted, again, when it's divided government, we know how this is going to go. Nothing's going to get done. This is just all a bunch of hot air. But just the idea, I've always maintained that the biggest fault line within the Democratic Party, unequivocally, is that it is bought and paid for by Wall Street and Silicon Valley. The biggest fault line in the GOP is that they are completely working at the behest of the evangelical right. And whatever their beliefs are, they will eventually get somebody like Mike Pence, not as vice president, but at least in their mind, hopefully as president. And now they have a new Speaker of the House who, as far as I'm concerned, probably shares almost an identical belief system to Mike Pence and Mike Johnson. So we're going to play a quick video so you guys get an idea of what the new Speaker of the House is all about. I can assure you, you're not going to like it.
Steve Scalise mentioned that my first act as the Speaker was to bring the resolution to make formal and official in the congressional record our resolve to stand with Israel and against the barbarism of Hamas and all of its accomplices. It's not an accident that the first resolution was for Israel and my first trip was to come and be with you. I want everybody to know where we stand. This message is to the UN. There will be a ceasefire only when Hamas ceases to be a threat to Israel.
You know, we don't live in a democracy because a democracy is two wolves and a lamb deciding what's for dinner, okay? It's not just majority rule, it's a constitutional republic. And the founders set that up because they followed the biblical admonition on what a civil society is supposed to look like.
Roe v. Wade gave constitutional cover to the elective killing of unborn children in America, period. You think about the implications of that on the economy. We're all struggling here to cover the bases of Social Security and Medicare and Medicaid and all the rest. If we had all those able-bodied workers in the economy, we wouldn't be going upside down and toppling over like this. Listen,
the gentleman,
I will not yield. I will not. Roe was a terrible corruption of America's constitutional jurisprudence.
You remember in the late 60s, we invented things like no-fault divorce laws. We invented the sexual revolution. We invented radical feminism. We invented legalized abortion in 1973, where the state, the government, sanctions the killing of the unborn. I mean, we know that we're living in a completely amoral society. And so people say, how can a young person go into their schoolhouse and open fire on their classmates? Because we've taught a whole generation, a couple of generations now of Americans, that there is no right and wrong.
As soon as I took the gavel, our work began, and we passed the resolution, as you noted, in strong support of our strong ally and great friend Israel. We had to do that. And then I flew last night to Las Vegas and spoke to the Republican Jewish Coalition, as you noted, to send a further signal.
We got your signal. We got your signal. You're a total piece of shit. We get it.
He's not only is he a short man, unfortunately, I'm very judgmental.
He looks like a Keebler elf.
Yeah, I can't help it. I'm like, dude, you're going to dress up as the Keebler elf?
I really want to superimpose a little green hat on his head.
Just the idea that you're so forthcoming in this belief of, and it's like, the end time. Wasn't it Sarah Palin?
Oh, we're heading to the end time. See, now here's where I'm starting to agree with them. They're winning me over on that. Oh, I agree. They're taking us to the end times. I don't think it's going to go how they think it's going to go, but I think that they're working it. I mean,
well, just like the whole statement that he made regarding, listen, you'll have a ceasefire when Hamas ceases to exist. It's like, you're just going to the more this is literally pouring fire on gasoline. That's what you're doing.
Right. Oh, he thinks that the children in Gaza are going to grow up to be really helpful to us. They're going to grow up and be friends with us. They're going to invite us to come over for dinner. They're going to want to be friends. Like, they act like Hamas is one person, one group of people, as opposed to an ideology. But more importantly, if you're indiscriminately bombing in a pretty small place and you don't know where your hostages are, suffice to say, you don't give a crap about your hostages.
But I think that also speaks for great volumes
like,
about,
do they care really?
Like, mentally, where are you at? Like, if you're
psycho,
and this is why, I mean, listen, I'm a pretty spiritual person. I believe in the possibility of God, but organized religion is bullshit, and everyone knows that it is. It's
God is not good, is what he's saying to you. I have a picture of Hitch right over there. He's saying God is not good.
You would dig the picture of Hitch, my friend.
I've had it for a long time. It's really cool. Every time we're talking about reason, I look over and I'm like this. Anyway,
I don't know. I mean, And I can respect people's religious beliefs. There's nothing wrong with that, but keep it the F out of politics. It does not compute. One does not lead to the other, which is why the most important document in this country is not the Bible, it's the Constitution. And so for people who want to pretend like it actually is the Bible.
And that has its issues too.
Sure. But keep your Bible the F out of politics, and the GOP just refuses to do it. Now, that doesn't mean the Democrats are not guilty of it, because I think, religiously speaking, I think Pelosi and Biden are just as nuts as the rest of them are. But there is something to be said for just how overt the significant portion of the GOP, the far-right GOP, really is when it comes to this religious stuff. It's terrible.
You know, I mean, there's a few things in there, and like, first of all, the absolutely genocidal rhetoric to say that we're not going to stop bombing millions of people until Hamas disappears. I mean, that's nothing else but a full-throated endorsement of just mass slaughter and killing. That's truly, I mean, I was going to say unimaginable. I mean, the fact is, this become feeling more and more of a reality, but just, you know, unconscionable, right? Because, like, let's not forget where something like, you know, Hamas comes into power. You know, the secular movement in Palestine has been completely, you know, attacked for decades now. The Palestinian Authority, through like tactical mistakes on their own, you know, have also lost tremendous amounts of legitimacy. And even if there was some kind of like horrifying which they could play, and this boom, everyone in Hamas just goes away, right? It's just slaughtered. No, what do you think, that there's like armed resistance is gonna stop after that? It's absurd, because something else is gonna come and take its place, because the root cause of all of this is the occupation. You have to end the occupation before we're going to be able to get anywhere. And that's any reasonable person. And in fact, I know that these people also recognize that as well. Which is why the things that they're saying right now are so psychotic, because they know what it is that they're endorsing. But, you know, he did that thing that, again, going back to these kind of like nuanced guys or whatever we were talking about on the left.
Yeah.
That right-wing argument there about like, well, this is not a democracy, it's a republic, is such a classic dweeb argument, because
it's just funny. It's funny for any of us who have ever taken a philosophy course or have any concept of anything. It's really fun. I've had to clarify before. I'm like, yes, I understand the mechanism, how it works. Yeah.
But also, if you spend any time, you know, looking at American history or American political thought, it's very clear why that system was set up. Is like, one, the kind of classic progressive argument is like, well, we need to have something that could maintain a slave system in this country. But two, because even the founders that we might say were more on the progressive side, or at least like not on the full-throated endorsement of slavery, they all feared one thing more than anything else, is what they called the mob. And what they mean by that is they were worried about everyday, regular people running the country. It's a hyper-reactionary belief. It's something that's been in this country from the get-go. And the fact is that the reason that the kind of popular understanding of this country is that it's a democracy is because that is the kind of popular will on this question. People want to live in a country where they have freedom, where they have the ability to affect what's going on. They don't want to be ruled over by a small group of elites. And we've seen all across this country, you know, movements, some more effective, some clearer than others, saying, hey, we're done with this kind of top-down rule in this country. We want a truly representative system. So, you know, I hope that these guys keep on leaning on their kind of anti-democratic positions, at least in like the, you know, kind of popular media, so that we can say, hey, yeah, you see, like democracy and freedom and all those things that we do like, the right's very clearly against that. And we can also point to a lot of people in the Democratic Party that are really against that. And I think it opens up an opportunity for, you know, people who believe in working class politics, working class democracy, to start to own that lane and say, hey, yeah, we are the group of people that believes in democracy as a principle, full stop. It's the right that is trying to muddy the water on those kind of things. But I mean, Johnson is a complete psychopath. I think the most likely thing that's going to come out of this is very likely that we're having a government shutdown, which would mean tremendous damage for working class people in this country. Certainly tremendous amounts of monetary and rhetorical support for Israel's mass slaughter of people. And it's pretty wild to see the Republican Party. I mean, I'm sure in Florida it's somewhat similar. But here in Texas, the Republican Party is in complete disarray, in a complete civil war with itself. It's a party that's not even effective at governing in the way that Republicans want it to govern. If that makes sense. Because they're I mean, right now we're trying to do this state here is trying to privatize education, and because of all of these inter-party spats that are going on, who knows? Maybe they'll come together to brutalize children. Favorite pastime of the Republicans.
Well, nothing brings people together more than a genocide. Nothing is better than that. But I feel like this is so all-consuming for me right now, and I know that that's how I feel like I need to have that, because it's the only way to sort of bear witness to the people that are living it. And so it's like, for the people that are living it, which I can't even. So for me, it's sort of like the least I can do is sort of sit in it, and in all of its complete unpleasantness. And yeah, that's partially what keeps me really angry and enraged. But I'm not going to tolerate any of the ridiculous whitewashing or gaslighting or any of the bullshit anymore. This is ridiculous. I feel like when my kids were little and people would be fighting and somebody had to be the grown-up in the room, that's kind of how this feels to me. Except for the children are all psychotic. But it's like, this is absurd. Like, think about how crazy this is, that these are grown people and they're just okay with what they're doing. Like, they're just okay with this. And the rest of us are being collectively punished because we have to sit here and watch it, and there's really not anything we can do about it.
Thanks for watching. If you want to support our mission to transform politics into service, please like this video, subscribe, follow us on social media, and consider joining our Patreon, where you'll get early access to our interviews as well as other exclusive content. Links are in the description. Peace out.